Hi folks, it's Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry, and today we're talking about mesh. Tonight's video that you would normally get is going to be delayed a little bit as we had some family business that had to happen today, so I didn't get it edited in time. So I thought that what I might do is a little bit of dehydrating hacks. Yeah, a couple. And then we'll move on and talk a little bit about fruit leather trays for your dehydrator. So for those of you, I know that in our dehydrating group on Facebook, the dehydrating tips and tricks group, we always have people asking about things like, why do things keep falling through my screens? Because on a Nesco, these holes are pretty big. You have big holes that things will fall through. You dehydrate some corn, it's gonna get small enough, it's all gonna fall through. You dehydrate onions or celery or garlic or anything like that, and it's gonna fall through. But people don't necessarily want to use a fruit leather tray because they feel like it's going to impede upon the airflow in the machine, although that's not true because your machine is designed to use those fruit leather trays and still dry around them. That's why you have the hole in the center. That's why you have holes in the side that actually have airflow going all the way around it. I'm going to show you real quickly here how to create a mesh for your Nesco, Hamilton Beach, any other dehydrator that don't come with mesh that you can cut to fit on your machine. Stay tuned. Okay, for those of you who have Nesco dehydrators or any of the like Hamilton Beach dehydrator, the kind that have large holes or have holes in the middle where you can't do product on them without things falling through, or you have to use parchment paper or the fruit leather trays that come with your machines that are solid and they don't get as good of a dry as if you just did it on the trays like this. I have a hack for you, and it's coming from something that you can get on Amazon Prime today and tomorrow. This will be for, I believe the price was around $10. You can buy these mesh sheets and you can cut them down. So what I'm going to show you how to do is this. We are going to center our tray in the mesh right here, and I'm going to take a marker and I'm just going to right along the edge on the outside. That way you don't have to worry about permanent marker being on your food. So we're going to do this around the outside as you watch me do really basic arts and crafts with Darcy today. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come through and just cut right inside that marker line, because that way you've got it on the inside of your tray rim, so you don't have to worry about overhanging. So as we cut through this, I'm going to show you the magic as if I were Martha Stewart. I have one ready. And did you notice there's no hole in the middle? Because guess what? It goes right over your tray, just like that. No more food falling through your tray. You've got mesh here to protect it. Now, of course, you'll have some things that when you cut it small enough, it will even go through the mesh. I mean, you're talking about little tiny herbs, or anything like that. You will have some fall through, but that's not such a big deal. The cool thing about this trick is that you no longer lose things in the hole in the middle. So you can load your tray and not worry about it. You can take the mesh off to unload your tray and drop it into something, and you don't have to worry about losing it down the hole. This doesn't impede upon the airflow of the machine at all. You don't have to worry about trying to cut out the middle hole of a piece of paper like you do on your parchment. It is a cool trick to do for your round dehydrators as well as the square ones. Now, some of your square ones may be a little longer than 14 inches, in which case you can just double it. It's no big deal, and you can still cut it to where you need to cut it for your machine. Okay, so that was easy enough, wasn't it? I really like the idea. I'm actually buying a whole nother set of those mesh for me so I can have some cleaner sheets for videos, and I can actually fill the rest of my Nesco with mesh. I have a few of them cut now from older sheets that I've done in the past where the mesh has gotten stained. I've just used those to cut down for my Nesco. But I'm going to buy another set so that I can have a fresh set. Another option, while not kosher because it's not considered safe, and you know I'm all about safety because I even showed you a video the other day about the things that are safe and not safe to dehydrate. Okay, so here's another option for this mesh. Those of you who don't have access to Amazon but do have access to a craft store, plastic canvas that you do needlecraft on is another option for this, and the holes will work. However, Doris, the company that makes it, they've said that it's not food safe. It's not rated for food. It's not food safe. It's not anything that they can sell as a food product. But many people will use it because they may not have access to this mesh. It's a little cheaper. You can get it for like less than $1 a sheet. Well, that's about what this is on Prime tonight too. But still, they use that option because they may not have access to this. So if you're a place where you can get that kind of mesh, know going into it, this is not food grade plastic. So that has to be up to you to decide whether or not to use it. But it's an option if you just don't have access to mesh and you don't want to use a solid sheet. And something else I wanted to talk about, I talked about it to my group today, but I thought I would do it here as well. Some options for fruit leather trays for your square machines, like an Excalibur or the Cosori. I don't know how large their sheets are, but those square machines, you've got some access to quite a few different kinds of fruit leather trays to help with doing fruit leathers or making sure that things that aren't sticky aren't going to stick to your mesh. I use them quite a bit for things like fruit and for tomatoes and for making powders, because I'll dry a puree really hard to get it really brittle. And so, in fact, this is a sneak peek. This is what I just spent like the last 4 days doing, is that brittle puree to get to a powder. That's the video that's coming next. So what I was going to show you is some of the options for those fruit leather trays, and my favorites, my not so favorites, and options that you might have. So all of these are good fruit leather trays. So I never want to assume that any of these are not a good tray, but some of them have great benefits to them. Some of them don't. Some of them have some drawbacks that might make you think twice about doing it. So here we go. Of course, you can always use parchment paper, and I don't have any parchment paper here, but it is, it's cheap. It's easy to use, and it's wasteful because you just throw it away after. So what we're going to talk about are these that are reusable resources, okay? This is a fruit leather sheet that is by Homey. It was about, I think when I purchased it, it was about $13 for a full set for an Excalibur. I want to say it was the $13 to $15 range, and I think right now they're running from $12 to $16. It just depends on who you're getting it from and what brand you get, because a lot of brands are out there now. These are cheap. They are good. They work really well as a fruit leather tray. They aren't the best at it, but they still work really well. And for the price point, they're great. After a few washings, they are starting. Can you see that right there? They are starting to come apart, where the fibers of the mesh are starting to come apart. The problem is that I'm pretty sure that between fabric and the fiberglass that may be embedded in here to help this, I didn't check to see if this one has it. I know most of them do. This is getting into your food. The other thing, which I know you won't be able to see here, I don't know if you can see how crinkled and things it is. The crinkling effect is a big deal, and I get to where after a while it's not aesthetically pleasing, but it's not such a big deal. But you can see where it's starting to stain on the edges, and I wish you could see this, and you can't. What happens is that because the edges of this are open, water seeps in between the layers, and then as over time you start getting more and more water in there, it still evaporates, but it leaves a stain. So for me, it makes it feel like these aren't necessarily clean. I guess that's what you would say. Over time, I want to use them less and less because I'm worried that they're going to transfer something to my food. And I know that these are covered by, I want to say it's covered by Teflon. It may be silicone. I'd have to go back and look. I didn't think to look at that ahead of time. So I know they're covered, but over time with the cracking, with the way that the layers are starting to get moisture in between them, I just wonder how clean these are going to be over a long period of time. Number 2, and this one is still wet, but that's part of why I'm doing it. These silicone lip trays from Bright Kitchen. They are now all the rage for silicone trays for your Excalibur. They're great because they have this 1/4-inch lip that you can pour your fruit leather onto here and not have to worry about it running off the tray and then getting all over your machine. As people start learning how to dehydrate, they often don't know that fruit leathers can, especially if they don't cook them ahead of time, if it's one that needs to be cooked, to simmer it down and let the pectins start to thicken it and get rid of some of the excess moisture. They pour things on their trays, and over time during the process, it runs off and then it gets in the bottom of their machine. And if their motors happen to be on the bottom, then it gets dirty and it starts stinking and smelling and stuff, or it just makes a big mess. So these are great for that. And because they're just silicone, they're not embellished with fiber, with any kind of fiberglass on the inside, you can actually cut these if you needed to, if all you did is want the silicone. But here's the thing with these. Because I have hard water, or we have harder water, it's not necessarily hard water, but it's not soft water either. When I dry these, they're left with a lot of deposits on it. There's nothing I can do about it. Even trying to dry them after washing, did I say drying these? When I'm washing these, they're left with some water deposits. And it always leaves them with gunk on it. And then I have to clean them off before I use them. The other thing is that my house is particularly dusty, and no matter where I try to store these, they always seem to collect dust, and that dust is hard to get off. It doesn't just brush off. You have to actually get a wet rag to wipe them off, and they are maintenance heavy. The other thing I don't like about them is that with some fruit leathers, especially when you're drying them past the point of just pulling them off and rolling them and having a fruit leather, they don't stick, but they get dusty, and the stuff sticks to them, and it doesn't come off cleanly, and it just sticks. I mean, the silicone itself is sticky because that's what silicone is like. It's made not to stick, but that doesn't mean that smaller pieces don't get they don't embed, but they just are there. So while they're great, they're not my favorite. And when I first got them, I loved these things, but after working with them for months, I'm just like, they're good. They're just not my favorite. But if I was doing something that needed to have a lip, that would be perfect. So my next one are the original Excalibur Paraflex premium sheets. Yes, it's dripping because I just washed these and I didn't get them all dried off. This thing is thick. It is a silicone based fiberglass mesh mat that will make it to where nothing sticks on anything that you're working on. And look, I didn't even get all of the projects from today off of it. So it's this Excalibur right here. These are expensive, which is why they are not my recommended sheet for using as a fruit leather sheet on your trays. They are really expensive. And the last time that I remember seeing them, they were like extraordinarily expensive, which is why I don't purchase them. They were going to be the thing originally that I was going to start investing in, buy one at a time and have them for all of my trays so that I had really great quality silicone sheets that I didn't have to worry about messing up anything that I'm working on. The problem is the price point. The price point is massive, and especially if you're working on a budget, these are going to be hard to find at any kind of sale that makes it. These are great, and I love them. And one day maybe I'll have a whole Excalibur full of them, because the body of them makes it so much easier to work with. They're firm, they don't slide around, they stick to the tray, they stick to the mesh if I keep the mesh on the bottom. They don't move around when I'm trying to spread things on them. I mean, I love them, they're awesome for that. But the price point makes these my number 2 spot. And so my number 1 spot, so now I just have fallen in touch in love with these. These are the Excalibur Paraflex. They're the 14 by 14 size. These things, nothing sticks to them. They are not cheap. I mean, the price of one of these is the same price as a whole set of these. But when you can get them on sale, or maybe if you buy them through Amazon, I'll leave the link down below. And the thing about it is that even when I bend them and use them, they don't crinkle the same way that the homies do. The edge doesn't get wet on the inside when I wash these. Things just peel off of this like a breeze. I mean, it just comes off so much easier. And this dries better than the Bright Kitchen. This one dries the slowest out of all 4 of these options, partly because of the lip and partly just because of the silicone. I'm not sure why, but this one dries less quickly than the other 3 options. So I just thought I would talk about that a little bit because this is my favorite and I really love it. And I'm not trying to get you to go buy them. It's just my experience with what I've been working with, and that's what I like the best. I know a lot of people prefer to use parchment just because it's so easy to work with and it's cheap and it's easy to get. And you're not having to make a big investment again. A roll is $5 and it lasts you for a really long time. But when you're dehydrating as much as I do, buying one of those rolls doesn't last very long, and I feel bad about throwing it out constantly because that's what I would be doing with it. So that's my stuff, and I'm sticking to it. So I just thought you'd kind of enjoy this little chit chat video tonight about the things that I use and the hack that I had. And if you have any questions, please ask them below because I'll be happy to answer them. So stick with me till next time, and have a great week.